Look closely. Not at your goals. Not at your plans. Not at what you think you're building. Look at what is quietly disappearing. The phone full of photos no one will open in 10 years. The messages that once felt urgent, now buried under silence. The house bought after decades of effort that will belong to someone else. The body you trusted without question, already negotiating its slow betrayal. You call it progress, but something else is happening underneath. Every gain is subtracting something. Time doesn't pass, it extracts. Days don't accumulate, they dissolve. People don't stay, they fade. This isn't pessimism, it's arithmetic. Every achievement costs you something you never get back. Your future is purchased with your present. Your stability is financed by your vitality. Your success is paid for in fragments of your life you will never recover. You were taught to think life is construction. Layer by layer, step by step, something solid. But what if that's the illusion? What if life was never accumulation, but controlled erosion? Civilizations built monuments that now exist as dust. Empires collected wealth that no longer has an owner. Names once feared, admired, worshipped, now reduced to footnotes no one reads. And still, you continue, as if this time will be different, as if your version will last. A question begins to emerge, uncomfortable and persistent. What if the greatest lie you've ever believed is that life is something you keep, when in reality, it has always been something you lose? The modern world worships growth. Everything must expand. Your career, your income, your influence, your reach. More is always the answer. More productivity, more efficiency, more output. Stagnation is treated like failure, stillness like decay. But beneath this obsession lies something deeply unstable, a contradiction no one wants to examine. The world does not function like a vault. It functions like a system of expenditure. Every system that accumulates eventually reaches a threshold where it can no longer contain what it holds. And when that threshold is crossed, it doesn't stabilize, it breaks. History is not a story of continuous progress. It is a pattern of accumulation followed by release, sometimes subtle, sometimes catastrophic. At the beginning of the 20th century, Europe stood at what looked like its peak: industrial power, scientific advancement, expanding wealth. It looked permanent. It wasn't. What followed was not just war, but annihilation on a scale that erased entire generations. Not because something went wrong, but because something had built up too much. Energy, power, tension. Release was inevitable. Nature follows the same logic. Populations grow beyond their limits, then collapse. Ecosystems accumulate imbalance, then reset through destruction. There is no infinite growth, only delayed consequences. And yet modern culture insists on pretending otherwise. You are told to accumulate endlessly, as if nothing will demand to be paid. But everything does. And when the system can no longer hold what it has gathered, it doesn't negotiate. It empties. What you call progress is often just the silence before the loss. Your body already knows the truth. It just doesn't ask your permission to act on it. You are not designed to last. You are designed to burn. Every breath fuels a process that is slowly exhausting you. Every movement consumes something finite. Every second alive is a second spent, not saved. You are not storing life, you are using it. Biology is not concerned with permanence, it is concerned with function. And function has a cost. Cells degrade, systems fail, repair mechanisms weaken. There is no peak that holds, only a peak that precedes decline. Even at your strongest, decay is already present, invisible, patient, irreversible. Physics made this clear long before biology explained it. Everything moves toward dispersion. Order breaks into disorder. Energy spreads until it cannot be gathered again. You are not an exception, you are an example. The illusion is that life is something you possess, but life is not a possession. It is a process of consumption. A flame doesn't exist despite burning. It exists because it is burning. And the brighter it burns, the faster it disappears. Nature offers no comfort here. The salmon swims thousands of kilometers, survives predators, resists exhaustion, only to reproduce once and die. All that effort, all that stored energy, released in a single moment. Nothing kept, nothing preserved. That is not tragedy, that is design, and you are no different. Open an old drawer. There's always something inside that shouldn't matter, but does. A photograph, a piece of clothing, an object that carries more weight than its material allows. Because it's not the object, it's what you tried to keep through it. Memory is not preservation. It is distortion with emotional residue. You don't hold on to things because they matter. You hold on to them because you cannot accept that they're gone. The human mind is uniquely aware of loss and uniquely incapable of accepting it. So it builds substitutes, possessions, status, legacy, symbols, ways of saying, something of me will remain. But nothing remains in the way you want it to. Not intact, not unchanged, not yours. You don't fear losing things. You fear what losing them reveals, that nothing was ever truly yours to begin with. The more you try to secure life, the more fragile it becomes. The more you try to hold, the more obvious the slipping becomes. Parents sacrifice presence for provision, moments for stability, connection for structure. And by the time everything is secure, what mattered has already moved on. You didn't lose it suddenly. You lost it slowly, while you were trying to protect it. This is the paradox. The more you try to preserve life, the less you actually live it. Some cultures understood something you've been trained to ignore. Excess must be released, not saved, not optimized, spent. Rituals of destruction were not irrational. They were honest. Wealth burned, food discarded, objects destroyed deliberately. Not because they lacked value, but because their value demanded an end. To hold indefinitely is unnatural. To lose is inevitable. To lose consciously is rare. When loss is denied, it returns violently. War, collapse, crisis. These are not anomalies, they are corrections. Modern systems accumulate at a scale never seen before, and yet, instability grows alongside them. Because the rule hasn't changed, what is gathered must be released. The only question is how. Gently, with awareness, or violently, without control. Nothing escapes this. Not nations, not systems, not you. What if the problem was never loss? What if the problem is that you were never taught how to face it? You are trained to win, to grow, to build, but not to let go. And yet, letting go is the only skill you are guaranteed to need. Nothing you love will stay. Nothing you build will remain untouched. Nothing you are will remain as it is. This is not a flaw in life. This is its structure. When people are forced to confront this, through illness, proximity to death, irreversible change, something shifts, not because they become hopeful, but because they stop pretending. What matters becomes clearer, not bigger, clearer. Time feels different when it is no longer assumed to be abundant. Presence deepens when permanence is no longer expected. You begin to see life not as something to secure, but as something to experience before it disappears. Because that's what it is. Not an investment, not a storage system, a brief intensity, a temporary ignition, a moment that exists precisely because it will end. You cannot win against loss. You can only decide how consciously you participate in it. So the real question is no longer, how do you keep what you have? But, Can you face the fact that nothing you do will remain, and still choose to live fully, without illusion? Nothing you do will remain. Not the version of you that exists right now, not the things you're building, not even the people you think will always be there. Time doesn't negotiate. It doesn't pause. It doesn't care. And yet, here you are, watching, thinking, feeling something. That already means more than you think. Because in a world where everything disappears, attention is rare, presence is rare. Choosing to stop and reflect is rare. So if this video stayed with you for even a moment, then something real happened here, and that matters. If you feel like giving something back, there are simple ways to do it. You can become a member and unlock more than 100 exclusive videos. Deeper, darker, more honest explorations that don't exist anywhere else. You can use Super Thanks if you want to support directly. Or you can just share this with someone who might need to hear it. And honestly, even just watching until the end already helps more than you realize. That's how this continues. Not because anything lasts, but because for a brief moment, something connects. And sometimes, that's enough.